Greetings comrades and welcome to the new video. Today I will show you a very quick chicken and onion stew that I used to enjoy when I was small Slav kid. My grandma used to prepare such kind of stews with whatever she had available, but this was one of my favorite, with a lot of onions, with some chicken meat. Typically she used the whole chicken with some drumsticks and all the parts of the chicken, but I will use skinless, boneless chicken thighs because I find this type of meat to be the best for such kind of stews. It's a very nice dish which you can prepare very easy, very quickly. You can combine it with any type of carbs you have, or just eat it like that. With that said, let's go and see how this very nice and tasty stew is prepared. As I said, we'll be using boneless, skinless chicken thighs for this recipe. I also have a lot of green onions already cut there, and I have some regular onions which will bring very nice sweetness to our stew. I have some nice olive oil, but you can go with sunflower oil. I have some canned tomatoes, around 200 grams, and some spices like garlic powder, sweet red paprika, salt, and summer savory. The first thing we need to do as we are cooking onion stew, as you may recall, is to clean a whole bunch of onions. And some of these weren't quite good, like this one which sprouted. I just threw it away, but the other ones were fine. I just cut them into big chunks because essentially I want to feel the texture of the onion. Once we cook it, it will melt down, and if the pieces are small, you won't feel that there's onion in the stew. The green ones, which were bigger, I would again just cut into smaller pieces. Once you cut your onions, it's time to heat up some olive oil into a pan where we will sear our chicken. There's no need for the chicken to be fully cooked in the oil. We just want two things here: to sear the chicken a little bit to develop some flavors in it, and in the same time to bring some taste of chicken to our oil, because after that we'll use this oil to form a sauce and to cook our onions in. And yeah, just put your chicken in, don't worry if it overlaps. Once it starts to get white on the bottom, we just need to flip it so it can cook a little bit on the other side. Yep, just flip it, and I believe if you have a gas stove or induction, this would turn out better. I forgot that I can do it on my induction stove, so I just used my electric stove for this, but again, it's good that way. Just remove it and put the onions in, and be careful if your oil is sizzling not to burn yourself. Add the other type of onion and just stir them, and we'll need to cook them until soft for some time. Make sure to just mix them from time to time so they won't stick to the pan, and they will just start caramelizing and developing some flavors. To increase the sweetness, I add some maple syrup there. You can just add a spoon or two of sugar or some honey, but I got this maple syrup in my fridge for a lot of time and I just wanted to use it. Adding some sweet red paprika. By some I mean a ton of it, because it's tasty and I love it. Add some salt and add some garlic powder. We'll mix, and you'll notice that the liquid goes into the spices, and the spices will mix with the oil and they would roast a little bit, which will again develop very nice flavors. Once the spices are roasted a little bit and mixed well with the onions, we'll start gradually adding some water so we can form a sauce and emulsify the spices with the oil and the water. And once this happens, we can put our chicken back so it can cook it for additional time. Make sure if there's some chicken juices to add them, they're full of flavor. Add the lid on and leave it to simmer for some time until basically the chicken is fully cooked. You can check this with a fork. At this time we can add the tomatoes. I add some tomato passata too, just for some additional sweetness and for some additional tomato flavor, and just mix your tomatoes with the sauce. At that point of time I like adding my other herbs, and my other herbs are only summer savory, but feel free to add whatever you like. Some dill will go well too here, but I would go only with summer savory. I fix the salt a little bit, and it's time to thicken our stew, which I will do just with regular plain white flour. You can thicken it with cornstarch or some other thickener, but in Bulgaria especially especially we're used to thicken our sauces and stews and everything with some slurry from cold water and white flour. Just put it into the sauce and make sure to almost immediately start mixing vigorously, because the white flour may develop some clumps which would be not very tasty, as you may imagine. Once you mix it very well and you are sure that there are no clumps, put the heat down and leave it to simmer for 10 minutes or 15 minutes, so there won't be a taste of raw white flour. And we're almost ready, but we need to finish our dish somehow, so I would cut some parsley, which would go perfectly, but not put it in the stew, just put it when you serve the stew in a plate, because the stew will spoil faster and the freshness from the parsley would go away basically. And the other thing is, not every person enjoys parsley, so just sprinkle it after you serve your chicken stew on a plate. You can enjoy it like that, or you can enjoy it with some bread or with some potatoes or with some rice, whatever you want. I would just enjoy mine like that because it tastes great. The Slav difficulty level would be 2 out of 5 because it's not very hard. The only hard part is to thicken the stew without making any clumps, which is again quite easy. And let me know in the comments, do you have such kind of stews that you prepare that every time it's a little bit different, but in the same time they remind you of your childhood memories, of your grandma recipes and stuff like that? I'll be happy to know. This was all from me for today, comrades, and Slav you next time. Now enjoy some random shots I took while I was walking outside.